Hello, welcome back. So I'm going to use my other camera while those videos are loading, and I am very concerned we're going to lose this game. We still have 2 more days before we can do the San Carlos landings. Considering the fact that there are 2 more cards, we're going to get the sitrep report right where we need it, so that way we could start the landings right away. Now, here's a couple of things for you, in case it does fail. So I spent some time reading the rules, and first things first, May 21st is when Operation Sutton is allowed to start. The other condition is you have to have the final sitrep card, which we know is Operation Sutton, okay? That has to be on the board. You can get this Operation Sutton card on the board sooner, but you still have to wait until May 21st, okay? So you have to have both conditions. All right, when that happens, you could also wait until like May 24th or 25th to do it. But starting on May 21st, the Argentinians are going to start reinforcing this island. So if you delay, that's your prerogative, you're allowed to delay, but there is a potential that things are going to happen. Okay, or I'm sorry, there's a potential it's going to be harder. Okay, the next thing, those 4 event cards that you see there, those are San Carlos event cards. We can take one of our warships, doesn't matter which one, and put 1 warship per each event card. And then do this thing called a Reconnaissance Mission, which I think, if I remember correctly, you're going to roll a D8 die. And basically, as long as you don't roll a 1, you're fine, right? You succeed in your mission. So after you avoid rolling the 1s, those event cards, so I'm just going to pick one up. So this is a San Carlos event card. There's going to be some benefit that's going to happen to us. The thing that's a little nebulous to me is I don't know where the San Carlos events are in the game, but I know they're in the, well, here. So if we look at the card, the successful event card was supposed to do something for us. And I thought the rules had indicated that it would be in the book, like our event book. And maybe it's not. But depending on whether it succeeded or didn't succeed, we're going to get some kind of a event that's going to happen for us. And we're supposed to, oh, here they are, right here. See these San Carlos events? We draw these. Okay, so I'm going to just randomly look at one. So there you go, it's event 40. Okay, so you're going to draw them, and there's going to be different event numbers that we're going to resolve from the book. Okay, that makes sense. So whether we succeeded at our reconnaissance or not is going to dictate how that event's going to play out for us. Okay? They're almost always a good thing. At least my understanding that they are. Especially if you succeed your reconnaissance. Okay, the next thing is we're going to have troop ships. As you can see, there's already 3 of them right there. And we can, let's say we put a troop ship here on number 6. So then what we're doing is we're landing a troop on Lookout Hill. What we can do then is we can also put a landing craft next to it. And what that allows us to do, let's say that this is the troop that's landing. If I have a landing craft that's next to that troop ship, then I get to use the full strength 6 number. This 6 right here. Otherwise, I have to flip it over, and we're doing the 4. Okay? So the full strength number is used if you have a landing craft. Now, this is a once per turn thing. So on May 21st, I can land as many troops as I want, okay? But I can only fill each spot once, okay? But let's say I put a troop ship here, and I'm landing that there. I can do this for every single space if I wanted, if I have enough troop ships, of course. However, the landing craft can only support 1 troop ship. So we only have 2 landing craft in the game. So I'm only going to be able to have 2 full-strength troops land per day. Okay, I can land more than 2, but then they're going to be at reduced strength as a result. Okay, so I hope that makes some sense. Now, if they land on a space that already has an Argentinian unit there, then there's going to be a battle, and it's a contested battle, and the Argentinian unit is going to win any tiebreakers because it's currently controlling the area. Now, if we control the area, and then Argentine, through their own deployment process, puts a troop here, then we win all tiebreakers because we initially controlled the area, okay? So there's a little bit of that. And then, of course, the supply thing that you've seen me aggressively go after. Every single time there's a battle between our troop and theirs, that supply marker ticks down by 1 space. So if we can get the supply marker to tick to 0, then all the Argentinian units are going to flip over to their red side, and they're going to be reduced strength. Now, what does the strength mean? This means we're going to roll a d6, and let's say the Argentinian unit is a 4, and they're going to roll a d4. So what you would do is you're going to roll the 2 against each other, and you can see this is a 2, and that's a 3. So we win, right? Our number is higher than theirs, so we win. So then you take the Argentinian unit, and let's just assume that this, well, here, I'll just grab one. So here's a perfect example. That one was a 4. Okay, that's an Argentinian unit. So then what we do is we rotate it 90 degrees. They basically all have 4 hit points, if you want to look at it that way. They never replenish hit points, by the way. And so even after the battle's over, the 4 hit point, or the rotation has to be preserved. So there's no such thing as, now these two would duke it out until one's defeated. So it's possible we could take 2 hits before we completely destroy them, right? But then we're always going to have 2 hits. So if another Argentine unit arrives and there's another battle, they're going to be at full strength and we're going to still be at half strength, okay? We still roll a d6. I mean, that strength is preserved, but we only have 2 hit points left for the rest of the game. So unless, of course, some strange event or something were to change that. So that's how the San Carlos thing is going to play out. So what we need to do is, we're on turn 19, as you know. We need to survive until the 21st and survive all those dang airstrikes. Now, here's the other thing that gets crazy, is when these landings start to occur, the airstrikes can occur here. So they're actually going to try to airstrike our landing ships and whatnot. So we're going to be filling all these spaces in with troop ships, landing craft, and we can put warships in here to help protect them with anti-aircraft fire and stuff like that. So there's a lot going on in this particular area at the end of the game. And of course, we may never see it because of how this is playing, but I just wanted to make sure you had a really nice feel for how this works. And looking at our reinforcements here, you can see we got a troop ship coming, and then a bunch of warships are coming with it. Okay, so that's going to be very welcome to actually get all those warships. That's going to be a nice reinforcement turn on the 23rd. And then we have some more support ships and another sub. Now, I have yet to see a single example of how a support ship is helping us. The landing ships help, but I have yet to see how a support ship helps. I didn't see any mention of it anywhere in the rules. And so we have like 1, 2, 3. We have 5 support ships. We lost 1, and we're getting even more. And I don't know what the point is to these support ships. So that's the only thing that's striking me as odd. And I was really trying to find in the rule book what's the point of them. So that's the only thing that is bothering me. Landing craft is specifically mentioned. Troop ships are specifically mentioned. Support ships are not mentioned at all. And that's so if anybody is watching and knows where in the rule book I can look at, obviously it might be in here and I'm just missing it, but I cannot find anywhere that tells me what a support ship does. I mean, we lost one and I still don't know what that does. I mean, the only thing I can say is that a support ship, we still lose a domestic support, with the support ship. So domestic opinion does drop by 1, and so that might be just the only issue that it causes. Beyond that, I don't have any answers. And speaking of which, our domestic support thing, oh, here it is. It got picked up by we were at 1. Okay, so I think we're getting ready to set our SAS, which we are going to keep on the attendards or whatever they're called. We have to decide, what are we going to do with our Harriers? We only have 3, so we're going to be only using them for interception. I am going to send this one, out for Kep, and we're going to go over our main fleet just because I want one there. And let's go. So we have a carrier out there, and it's going to use a D8, and as you can see, we rolled a 7. And so then we have a submarine that's in port. And we got a 1, 2, and 2. So it's coming out. Oh, we were supposed to decide where we were going to do ours. I am going to move 1. Do I really want to do that? No, I don't. I'm going to leave 2 there. I'm actually going to move this one back over to there. Okay. So I know I cheated a little bit because I already know this one's going coastal. But now we're going to roll for the one that's in the exclusion box. And I didn't roll any 1s. I was fully expecting to do that. So I made a big mistake there. And then we're going to roll for I think it's the patrol group. And so they still haven't come out. Okay, now we're going to roll for the battle group. And they stay where they are. That one just keeps them right where they're at. Okay, so that's the detection phase. So now we have 3 subs trying to find their sub. And those are all D6s. So I did get a 1, as you can see, and then the other ones were miss. So we are going to get 1 attack, and that attack is a D4. So let's go for it. And we got him. Oh my gosh. We finally destroyed one of their subs. So let's see what happens. Combat losses, 34. Okay, so if it's a coastal box loss, which is what... Alright, first of all, let's back up. Argentine submarine losses. At the end of any turn in which an Argentine submarine is lost, all Argentine task groups are placed off board and submarines are ready for war. So just that alone is going to reset the game. So that ship that never made it out of port is going to go back off board. This battle group is going to go off board, and then this other submarine is going to go back to the ready for war box. Okay, and then if a task group is lost, then all Argentine submarines are immediately placed in a ready for war box, and all surviving task groups are placed off board. Okay, so the political impact of Argentine losses. So if they're in the search box, or the coastal box, this is where we are. So if they're in the coastal box, if an Argentine task group or submarine is sunk within the coastal box and no British vessels have yet been lost, international opinion falls by 2. That is not the case. If domestic opinion is currently 4 or less, and any Argentine task group or submarine is sunk within the coastal box and no British vessels have been lost, domestic opinion falls by 2. Not the case. These changes international are applicable on each occasion they occur. So nothing happens then because we've lost vessels. So basically that means it's all-out war. Okay, so no impact then, other than at the end of the turn, everybody's resetting. Now, the one thing it doesn't clarify, I just destroyed this sub, so does it go back into the Ready for War box? Because like the planes, when you destroy the planes, you reset all the planes back at the base. I mean, it's like an unlimited number of planes. I'm going to assume that the sub is out of the game, because it does say that the task group is lost, and that all remaining task groups are placed off board. So that's what I'm going to assume, that this submarine is finally out of the game. So we're going to put this I'm actually going to put it back in the box. So we're done with him. Okay, so that means this one's out, but we still have 2 to detect him. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And that is a coastal, it's a 4. So oh, I rolled the wrong die. To attack their sub, I have to roll a d6, not a d4. 1 second. And I failed. So that sub comes back out. We didn't get it. This d4 that I rolled is if it was the surface group. So to detect the surface group, it's a d4 roll, and that we're going to do with the other 2 subs. So here you can see I detected him, and then now we're going to go ahead and attack him, and we could assume that my roll of a 1 would apply against the surface group. That's probably a fair thing to do, but that's what I was supposed to do. So I'm going to assume that we destroyed the battle group, right? Because we did detect him. We did the roll for that. And then my roll to destroy is against the battle group, and then my d6 roll to destroy the sub. So it's still good. Everything is still going to reset, but now the battle group is destroyed. So they're out of the game. All right, now, I did miss with this one, so we are going to have to roll the chart. Check the chart. So I roll 6, and let's see what the chart says. Target changes course, postpones attack. Argentine vessel returned to originating naval patrol box. So, yeah, the submarine didn't go away, it just stays there. Okay, so now these 2 submarines for the Argentines are, well, that one's going to see if he can detect us, and then the other one is going to, or both of them are going to try to detect our fleet. So their sub is rolling a d8, and it failed. So now they're both going to try to detect the surface fleet. So it's a d10 for one, and a d6 for the other. And they both fail. So that's fine. Okay, so our fleet wasn't detected by their navy. And now we move on to the scramble. But before all that's done, we got to do, like we said, everything's going back to the Ready for War box. And then this goes back off board. Okay, the scramble's getting pretty hairy here. It is a 6, so a 5. It's 50-50 right now. And we rolled a 5, so the scramble's happening. And as you can see, it's 4 groups. So let's roll for group 1. We rolled a 10, which is this Comodoro Rivadavia. All right, so let's see how many are coming. We rolled a 1. Well, that's good news. So that means it's only going to be 1 aircraft. And it's a Mirage, by the way. That's what's coming. And let's roll to see who he's attacking. This is a 3, by the way, and that's a 3. So they're coming in at 6. We do have 1. The Alacrity is there. So they're coming in, and we only have 1 group to intercept. and I'm not going to intercept. So we do have to see if we detect them. So let's roll for that. And we don't detect them. We don't have the Chilean thing anymore. And I think the Soviet thing increases their scramble modifier. I wish there was a way I could just say, what does the Soviet thing do? But I gotta find the right place in the book that even mentions what the Soviet modifier does. Sorry for the sneezing, folks. I've been doing that all day. Yeah, it doesn't say that the Soviet satellite helps there. So where is the Soviet satellite helping us? I bet there's a section here. Well, here we go. Add 1 Argentine aircraft to each raid, up to a maximum of 4. That's what the Soviet support did. Okay, so there's 2 Mirages coming. Even though I rolled for a 1, they get an extra. Okay. That seems a little bizarre, but because it's not what the arms embargo is. But anyways, there's 2 of them coming, and we don't get to do surface to air because we never detected them. So now they're coming and basically going to get to slam us. So the Mirage attacks with a D8. So we still have a good chance of missing here. And we do. Okay, so we got lucky. Sortie 1 is done. Now we move to Sortie 2. And let's roll for how many there's going to be. I got a 3, which is 2 aircraft. And so, sorry, there's my son. So now we're going to have 3 aircraft, but I just realized it's going to be 3 aircraft to something, but we forgot to roll to see which one it is. So let's roll for what one. I rolled a 4. It's the San Julian. So it's going to be 3 aircraft of daggers. And the daggers are going to be D8s. And you can see on the other side, the D8. Anyways, 3 daggers, and let's see where they're attacking. This is a 6. I know it was hard to see, but that was a 6. So they're going after the same guy, the Alacrity. Let's see if we detect him. We do not detect him. So I'm going to let them through. I'm not going to... Oh, I can't scramble. I didn't even detect them. And so, yes, they're rolling... they're not rolling D8s. They're rolling D10s. So, can you make any more possible noise? Please stop. All right, so 3 D10s. Sorry, my kids like to interrupt my videos. They think it's funny. Get away. All right. He's trying to give me a hug now. Get away. Get off my lawn. All right. See, you need to tell them, folks, that they need to be playing these games instead of ignoring their dad on Father's Day. All right, so let's go. Miss, miss, and miss. So we got lucky again. I think if we get hit even once, folks, we lose the game because international or domestic opinion is at 1, and as soon as it goes to 0, we lose. So now we're on Sortie 3. So let's roll to see which group. It is 10, so it's another Rivadavia. Let's see how many. It is going to be 4. Not even a question. So there's our 4 guys. Let's see if we detect them. We do detect them. And what group are they going after? They are going after the... Oh my gosh, the same ship again, the Alacrity. All right, so this is 4 of them. They are going to roll, because they're Mirage, they would roll a D10. And that makes sense, because the D10, see, look, this 10 is for sea battle, right? Air to sea. And then this is for the island, right? The San Carlos. So when they're attacking the San Carlos, they become a D8. And then this 10, of course, is for air-to-air combat. So you can see everything you need just from this token. Okay, so they're going to be rolling 4 D10s. So we have a good chance of not rolling a 1. We do have the possibility of launching 2. And I'm going to go ahead and do that, although the Mirages do shoot back. I'm going to go ahead and do it. We're going to launch 2. And so that means we now roll D10s. See the big 10 there? The chances of us shooting them down is very small. Do I really want to do this? This is the 3rd out of the 4th sortie. Yeah, I want to do this. Okay, so here's a D10. 1, 2, 3. Where's the 4th one? 4. All right, so we got a 7, 4, 5, 2. So 7, 4, 2, and 5. So I know we're supposed to use this over here, but I just like keeping everything in front of me. 2, 4, 5, and 7, right? And so then we have 1 plane for each one. All right, since I have 2 planes, I'm going to be attacking, and so I will be rolling 4 D10s as well. And as long as we match those numbers, we get them. And by the way, they bounce. So whoever they hit doesn't get to shoot back. So 8, 9, 1, and 1, we missed miserably. Didn't get a single one. Okay, so now they all get to shoot back. Have we had anything go our way this whole game? Okay, so... I think it's 8.0. Nope. It's 9.2. How do they attack back? Well, we do have a combat table here that shows it shows that for a target lock, yeah, we roll a D10 for the target lock. I think, oh yeah, it's the same number, I think. Let me check. 9. Oh. Okay. So this is interesting. So they are doing the same exact thing to us that we just did to them, except they use D12s. And it doesn't matter if it's a Mirage or something else. I guess the Harriers are pretty good at evading. So we're going to roll 2 D12s, and we got a 6 and 11. Just remember those two numbers. That's all you have to remember. So they have a target lock of 6 and 11 on us. And then all 4 of these are going to roll just 1 die. That's it. They're not going to roll 2 like we did. So, because I guess they're not as advanced. So I got 11 and I got a 6. Now they are gonna get to roll 4 dice because there's 4 of them. And if any of them are a 6 or 11, we get destroyed. And that's a 9, that's a 10, that's a 3, and that's a 5. So we got lucky, and both of these are going to land safely. And now all 4 of them are still going to get to bomb the target. However, we get to do our magic. So this is a T-21. Okay. So looking at our little chart here, the T-21s, as you can see, is see the radar lock is 3. So it's awful. And then also the T-21 can only hit at 10 miles and 1 mile. So we're going to just start at the 10-mile spot, and we're going to do a D10 roll, and this is at the 10-mile marker. We actually detected it. So we're going to launch, because since our radar is very poor, we're going to roll a D8 for both, or 4 D8s actually. I found 3 of them. Oh, here's the 4th one. So if any of them are a 1, and we got 1. Okay, so we destroyed one of the Mirages. Doesn't give us any prizes, but we got 1 of them. So now only 3 of them are going to be bombing us. And so you can see here it's a D10 on the top left corner. So we're going to be rolling 3 D10s, and if they roll a 1, we lose the game. And they just did. So we lost the game, folks. Because what's going to happen is the Alacrity is destroyed, and the domestic opinion drops by 1. That's it. No good. So at the risk of, those of you that are trying to learn the game, not at the risk, but just to try to help those of you trying to learn the game, let's say that it's May 21st, and we are at the Operation Sutton here. You can see that's a level 8 error alert. These are going to be the final numbers for the attack, and there's going to be 5 sorties. So it's pretty intense. So the first thing that happens when we get to Operation Sutton is they ask you to put the Operation Sutton marker on the board. So let's assume that it's the 21st. We would put the Sutton marker there on the 21st, like so. So that's signifying that Operation Sutton has begun. The first thing that happens is, so I'm just drawing 2 more here. Yeah. Okay. The first thing that happens is the event deck goes away. You no longer draw event cards for the rest of the game. And during the event phase of Operation Sutton, whatever day you decide to do Operation Sutton, we have to resolve these 4 event cards. So I'm going to assume that Alacrity never got destroyed, right? So then what we do is we take our 4 event cards, and I'm just going to lay them out here for the camera. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you get to pick 1 warship per card. So I'm going to pick my 2 warships in the defense zone, right? So we're going to go 1, 2, and then I'm going to just grab my extras that I had out front. So I still have a nice task force defending me. 3 and 4, okay? So now I roll 4 D8s. One of these is a D10. Okay, so I'm going to roll 4 D8s, and that one, yep. And if any of them are a 1, one of them is going to be destroyed. So they all pass. Now, if I would have rolled a 1, I would have. You're supposed to do them 1 at a time, but so anyways, this is all successful. I successfully reconned. So then these 4 are going to go onto the 22nd box because they're delayed by a day, and then they'll return back to you the next day, okay? If they survived, which all 4 did. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take the San Carlo event tokens, and I don't know which ones are which, so I'm going to just assign 1 to each one. And there's 5 total, so this one we didn't get to do, okay? And this is just by the luck of drawing the cards. So that's why before I removed the deck, I checked the top 2 cards to see if we would have gotten one by the 21st, and we wouldn't have. Okay, so one at a time, we just flip these over, and so this is 39, and we would go to our booklet, and then, contrary to initial intelligence reports, Argentine units are already entrenched along the length of San Carlos Bay. If reconnaissance has successfully conducted on this card, which it was, you may delay the landings for 24 hours to allow for the landing plan to be amended. The Operation Sutton marker remains in place and the Operation Sutton card remains the active sitrep, but no vessels may enter the water until next turn. Or, if you successfully conducted on this card, you may proceed with the landings. The task force commanders order the SAS to mount a diversionary raid on the Argentine garrison at Goose Green. At 4:30, the raid commences, backed up by ground attack harriers and naval gun support. Roll 3d6. If any of the rolls are 1 and 2 or 3, Argentine forces abandon their position and race to aid of their comrades. No new Argentine units are placed this turn. If not, place 3 Argentine units this turn instead of the normal 2. And then down here, if you failed reconnaissance, additional Argentine units have been deployed over the turn. You place 4 units instead of 2. All right, so we passed, and I would have probably rolled the 3d6 and taken my chances. So let's go ahead and do that. And so I rolled a 2, 3, 2, and oh, that's a perfect roll actually. No new Argentine units are placed this turn. So that's perfect. We get no Argentine units at all. So then we have event 40. We flip to that. And a mobile exocet launcher has been positioned. If reconnaissance has been successful, we may delay launch 24 hours, or you may order both the exocet crew and the launcher to be quickly and quietly neutralized. Roll 3d6. If 1, 2, or 3, so it's the same deal, right? So I'm going to do it again. And once again, I succeeded. I got a 1, 2, and 2. Now I'm getting the good rolls after I've lost the game. The mobile exocet launcher has been decommissioned. Otherwise, the helicopter carrying the insertion team is shut down. Select 1 naval target and they could get destroyed and sunk. So far so good, right? So then you just keep going and going. So event 37 and 36 also have, so these San Carlos events are not necessarily, I mean, we did actually cause the Argentinians not to be able to reinforce this turn, but these are actually not very good. This one, an Argentine artillery battery is positioned, and again, we can delay, or we roll 4d6, and if we get a 1 or a 2, we destroy the guns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I rolled a 2, thank goodness. And so we destroy the guns. Otherwise, bad things happen, and nothing really good happens. We just neutralize the event. And then this last one is that the water's been mined. So again, I could delay the landings by 24 hours, or we can do minesweepers. And this one's actually a really tough check. We're only rolling 3 dice, and we need a 1 or a 2. And this one I actually failed. So on the first turn that British forces enter, each vessel on the San Carlos display has to roll a 1d10, and on a roll of a 1, it's sunk. So these San Carlos event cards suck. I thought they were going to be good things, folks. They're not. They're awful. So that's how you resolve those, and you may not draw any at all on your game. It all depends on the luck of the draw of this event deck. Okay, so So after you resolve that, you still, put your SAS team out to, detect air units and, things of that nature. But then the game changes because now you can put cap here, right? So these guys would have been available at the end of the last turn. Let's just say that that's how it looked. So we can actually put 2 units. So I'd put the 2E, although we don't have to worry about the letters matching anymore because we have that card right there. I can actually put 2 Harriers on cap over the island. Okay, that's the first change you need to be aware of. The next one is I'm going to grab my loader, my troop ships. So I have 3 troop ships here, the Edmund, the Canberra, and the Norland. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the Edmund here, and the Canberra there, and maybe the Norland here. Okay? So one of the things I can now do is I can take a warship, which, mind you, I'm getting low on warships, but I'm going to take one and put it here, and that warship can protect all 3 of these because he can go one orthogonally in every direction. And then I'm going to take 2 of my landing craft, and I'm going to put one here and one there. Now the landing craft has to be vertically next to it. This landing craft here does not help them. Okay, so I got to go here and there as such. The landing craft, by the way, are not protected by a warship. So if I want to protect this landing craft, I would need to add another warship here or here. Okay, so that's the next step. So then what we do is we look at, excuse me, the St. Edmund here is our blues and royals. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put them there, like so, and they're going to be full strength because I have a landing craft next to them. This Norland, however, is actually, that's a really good commando. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to flip them around. We're going to put the blues and royals at a weak number there, and then we're going to let these guys land full strength, the 42 commando. Now the Canberra has 3 units on it, and we get to pick any one we want. And so we're going to go ahead and Gurkha, just because, how often do you get to say that word? And so they land, and that's what this is going to look like, okay? So the landing is not successful until we get past the strike phase, because the Argentinians, let's say that they roll and they're going to have strike. What we do is we roll for target again, but now the targets are going to be here. So if I roll an 8, they're targeting this troop ship, okay? So if they sink this troop ship, then we lose that troop. So we obviously got an aircraft here to support that troop ship, and I have 2 that are on cap. So the other thing is if we end up detecting them with the U.S. Radar, we get to actually also try to strike them with another group from here. Okay, so the cap is separate from the strike. So we could potentially have multiple air-to-air combats to resolve this, and actually it would just be 1 air-to-air combat, but we'd have 4 Harriers. So that's the idea, right? And so after you land, then we hold that territory, okay? Now, the only time ground combat happens is if we're on the same spot as the Argentinians. And what happens with them is they deploy 2 per turn, okay? But because of the event, and we successfully, resolved that one event, they deploy 0 this turn. But then, next turn they're going to deploy 2, and then after that they're going to deploy 2. And if they ever deploy 1 on our space, then ground combat happens. Now, the one thing about ground combat is, if you look at the Argentinian troops here, I'm going to scroll through a few here till I find it. See, this one has an asterisk on it. See that top right corner? This guy, basically, when he takes his first hit, that asterisk is like special equipment. So the equipment gets destroyed and he stays full strength. So treat him like he has an extra hit point. And these other ones, of course, don't have that. So they're special elite units for the Argentinians, so they're going to be a little stronger. Now, obviously, every time there's a battle, like I said, the supply goes down by 1, and that's before the battle occurs. And if it's ever 0, then these guys all flip over to their other side. And just remember, it's straight up die roll. So if this is an 8 and that's a 6, I'm rolling a d8 versus a d6, and then, you know, the d8 wins because 7 is better than 3. And so then the Argentinian would take the hit. There's a few other details in the rules, you know, that you may want to look at, but I hope I gave you a great idea of how the ground combat's going to work. And then, of course, how do you win? We got to make it all the way to May 28th. That's the first thing you got to do. And I don't think there's a way to win earlier than May 28th. And the way you win is it's the number of zones you have. So if they have 4 zones, it's a narrow victory. 3 zones is a clear Argentine. Hold on. Oh, okay. This is the number of zones we have. So if you have 0, it's a historic Argentine victory. Total, a major, clear, narrow. I mean, right now we already just took 3 of the zones, but that doesn't mean we're going to hold them. And if you have all 10 zones, you get a historic British victory, which the British did win. Okay, so 9 zones is overwhelming, and then you can see major, clear, etc. So we lost because we didn't even make it to the landings because we lost all of our ships. My biggest lesson learned is I don't think I handled my Harriers correctly. This naval thing is pretty interesting. That carrier really devastated us. Remember that carrier that got through? We need to take that carrier a little bit more seriously. You don't need this Operation Sutton card to arrive until the 21st of May. So before things start escalating and ramping up, you may want to delay a few turns, right? We had a couple ceasefires which delayed it anyways. This game, in my opinion, had way too many turns where nothing happened. I would really like to see that cut out. I would have liked more meaty turns. But then there were some turns that were so meaty, it was like, man, oh man, I'm exhausted by the time the turn's over. This is just like Operation, or Code Word Cromwell. It's hard. This guy definitely designs a difficult game. I mean, it's a dice rolling game, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. But the dice went their way. I mean, every time the AI rolled, they would destroy us. Every time we rolled, we'd miss. So I know I got some rules wrong in the very beginning, but I hope that you got a very solid feel by the end here. This is I'm feeling 95% confident we got it right now. There might be a few things I'm missing, but I feel really good that we got the flow of this game going. And with me being Mr. Sniffles, I'm not going to start another game today. So I'm going to just let it be. That is, here it is. Where there is Discord, 6-7 years after it was released, somebody finally did a video for it. I can't believe nobody did. It's a fun game. It's a difficult game, and it's definitely going to keep you challenged. Thematically, it feels very strong. In terms of the amount of choices I get to make, clearly you can make bad choices, right, with the Sea Harriers. This is where the majority of your choices are, here, and then those 3 things. I would say it's a little weak, but you know what, considering when this game was made, it's pretty good. I have solitaire games that are coming out in 2019 that don't make me feel as immersed as this does. But, you know, they might give me more choices. This one does not top D-Day at Omaha Beach, which came out around the same time. D-Day, I felt, had a lot of choices, even though at the same time there was still a lot of luck with it. But this one, I think, is good. My only thing is I would recommend that you get out a note card, and like some of these rules that are in here are not on the player aids. And you know how I constantly had to look things up, and sometimes I was looking things up multiple times, even though I had looked it up before. Definitely write some of that stuff down. It's going to help you make your own player aid, if you will. It'll help you get through things. This event deck is brutal. I would say that it hurt us a lot. Now that I understand sit rep a little better, you know, I think we're going to be good. My decision with the SAS team, you know, I don't know. I still think that the Rio Grande planes are your biggest threat, so you do want to shoot them down if you can. But man, oh man, it's really hard to shoot them down. Yeah, there you have it. Where there is discord. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. Stay awesome.